All right, Kasey, so we're talking about the kitchen written assignment. We're going to start with the reflective statement, and then we'll talk about the essay, okay? Bless you. So primarily, we want to emphasize what went on in the interactive oral and less on analysis of kitchen. We're going to save that for the essay itself. I think one of the better examples of what looks good here is the global electronics in the 80s and how Japan was, especially Tokyo, was at the forefront of that industry. I've got ages highlighted just because it seems a little melodramatic, maybe. You know, you'd say it was at the forefront of the time, but yeah. And again, emphasize that it was the age of electronics where Tokyo was in Japan was producing this stuff. Where it doesn't work as well is the next paragraph on existentialism, where if you could explain what you learned that helped you understand the relationship rather than giving the relationship. Okay?
But if the relationship was kind of what was presented, because like the way that it kind of happened was Kivalu kind of gave the relationship in the interactive world.
Right, but you could say, and you can use his name, you can say Kivalu explained how Mikage looks outside and sees the cosmos, and that is a reflection of the existentialist idea that we're alone. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
And so, again, it's kind of like the criterion C, appreciation of author's choices, by putting Kivalu in the subject position. It emphasizes the oral rather than the insight, if you will. And to the best of my understanding, that's what the examiners want to see. That's what they're rewarding. I'm not exactly sure why, but that's how it works. Okay? All right, so on to the essay. Yeah, I like. There's a lot of yellow right there. I like the idea, and what I'm going to tell you is something I've been repeating to everyone. The topic you start with, whether it's a question or a statement, will typically generate the essay. At the end of the essay, if you find that you have stumbled onto either something new or something slightly different in your investigation of the original topic or question, it is absolutely encouraged to pursue and revise accordingly. Do not feel, and I think I can speak for college level courses as well, don't feel like you're bound to it. So with that said,
I guess it just feels a little binding because we have to go through like that question
Right,
selection
right,
process.
right.
I don't want to steal somebody else's.
right, but once you're in there,
Yeah.
I mean, once you're in that top, you're close enough to it that
Okay.
it's not like it's going to go off. The real issue that I have is it seems really redundant, and it seems like the one in yellow, you don't have anything from kitchen. And then in the very next paragraph, you say kind of the same thing, but you have examples from kitchen. So to me, that paragraph in yellow is kind of like what got you to this second paragraph.
Okay.
And this paragraph is the one we want to keep. The one in yellow is jettison, or put it in the file. I'm glad you guys are moving out like 4 minutes early. But if you would please, just try and keep it down a little bit and put all the chairs up for me. Thank you. In the green, we've got a nice example of integrating a quote with insight, right? When she learns about Yuichi's attempt to find isolation, Mikage realizes that she craves isolation as well. Nice. The challenge is to not try to explain too much.
Okay.
With the I know it might sound like I'm going back on what I said about explaining quotes in terms of analysis. But you've definitely explained it, and maybe a little too much.
Okay.
We can. We don't have to be quite this explicit.
Okay.
Okay. Your reader is going to be able to keep up with what you're saying, and I think it would be helpful to try to find some more examples of the isolation. And they might not be as literal or as obvious as Yuichi's and Mikage's at this instant when they're both going completely separate places. It might be you could use his drunkenness as a form of isolation and distraction.
I was actually gonna use Yuichi. Initially, I was planning to use Yuichi like in my outline, but then I realized like with the going in depth thing about like explaining and not just like words, something like that. I started writing it, and then I realized that I didn't have enough words for him at all.
Okay.
So then I kind of stopped, but I guess if I since that's like going away.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then possibly another example of Mikage's isolation, and it might be
I think I actually broke my phone. The whole screen was like twitching the light.
oh, I hate when that happens. Okay, it'll come back, but anyway. The distraction. I think that's a good insight. It's a viable point. I'm not sure about how you've, and I'm just, this is my opinion. I see the hum of the refrigerator partly distraction, partly and maybe I'm slicing it too thinly, but it's almost like a comfort in the not distraction sense, but kind of, I guess it is.
Kinda
it's like white
maybe
noise.
like a child's blanket or something, like comfort
Mm-hmm.
object, sort of.
Sort of. I think it is the sound. It is the vibration. to me, it's more of the loneliness. It's almost like she's personified the refrigerator. It's like a lullaby. That's what I'm getting at. And not that that's not a distraction, but it's more of that real presence, so that you're just not so alone. Because that's what that scene is so sad, because she's so alone and it's so quiet, and that's just how I perceive it. I like the cooking as distraction and isolation. That's good.